All right, so let's see here. We did the first two, and then, or excuse me, 1 and 3, and then you did number 2. Number 4 is along the same lines. You just have area of a triangle, so I'm not going to do that one completely, but let's just remind ourselves what the area of a triangle equation is. 1/2 times the base times the height. This would be your base, and this would be your height. So you should be able to handle that problem from there, and I'll ask you to do that here in a minute. Let's look at number 5. Find an expression to represent the volume of the rectangular prism shown below. Volume is length times width times height. So guess what? They gave us the length, the width, and the height. So let's work it out. Obviously, we're going to need to factor, so I'm going to factor as we go along. It doesn't matter which dimension here you recognize as length, width, and height. We end up multiplying them all anyway. Let me see here. Let me pick one of the easiest ones to factor. Let's do this one first. That would be x plus 8 times x plus 6. 6 times 8 is 48, and 6 plus 8 is 14. In the denominator, that's the difference of perfect squares. That would be 6 plus x times 6 minus x. The one in the middle would be pretty easy to factor. The numerator doesn't factor. It's a monomial, so we just leave it as 18x squared. The denominator has a GCF of 9x, which leaves us with 5x minus 2. And then finally, I'm going to tackle that last one. I saved that last one for the end because it looked a little bit more involved than some of these others. So I'm going to use what I've already got factored as kind of a little bit of a hint. I got to factor 5x squared, so I know that that's got to be 5x times x. 12, though, I've got several options. 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. But if I look, I already have an expression that has 5x in it in my denominator. It's minus 2. So let's see if 5x minus 2 will work for this problem. If we've got 5x minus 2, then our other factor would have to be minus 6, because negative 2 times negative 6 is positive 12. So check it. Grade 7, let's report to the meeting. We've got negative 30x on the outside and negative 2x on the inside. That gives us the negative 32x for our middle term there. Okay, so we are multiplying. So these just straight across. Anything that shows up in the top and the bottom, we can cancel. So x plus 6, I know it's reversed in the bottom, but x plus 6 is the same as 6 plus x, is it not? We've got 5x minus 2 in the top and in the bottom. We have 6 minus x and x minus 6. Now, those are not exactly the same, but remember we looked at the scenario when there's a minus sign in between. If they're flip-flopped, you can cancel them, and you put a negative 1 up there in the numerator where you cancel them. Now, I don't know about you, but it's a little overwhelming what we've got right now. So let's just copy down what we've got. We have negative 1 times 18x squared. So let's make that a negative 18x squared, and x plus 8 in the numerator. In the denominator, all we've got left is 9x times 10x cubed. So let's go ahead and multiply that. 90x to the 4th. Then we can simplify with our 18x squared and our 90x to the 4th. I believe that 18 is a factor of 90. 90 divided by 18, is it 40? Or not 40, 5. Okay, it is 5. So that means we've got a negative with our x plus 8 over here. 18 over 90 is 1 over 5, so the 5 goes on the bottom. And x squared over x to the 4th leaves us with x squared in the bottom. Subtract your exponents, put it where it's bigger, so that's in the denominator, and that's as far as we can go. Now, you could distribute the negative. You would look at your answer choices and see how they appear. But that's really as simplified as we can make that expression. All right, number 16 is similar. It's, or not 16, 6. I don't know why I added 10 to that. Number 6, the volume of a rectangular prism below is 12x plus 16. Find the height. So similar to the problem that we just did, but they don't give us all of the dimensions. We're missing the height. They want us to find the height. They tell us the final answer, though. So how about we go ahead and multiply what we've got. Factor, so 9x squared minus 16 is the difference of perfect squares. 3x plus 4 times 3x minus 4. X squared plus 2x minus 35 would be x plus 7 times x minus 5. The width there, the numerator has a GCF of 8x, so that leaves us with x minus 5. And the denominator is not factorable. 3x minus 4. So let's see here. What can we cancel? 3x minus 4, top and bottom. X minus 5, top and bottom. That's all that we can cancel. So what we have right now is we have 8x times 3x plus 4 over x plus 7. And if we multiply that by our, let's see here, we're missing the height. If we multiply that by the height, we will get the volume. 12x plus 16. How do we solve for h? Divide, okay? We would be dividing by a fraction. So what is the same thing as dividing by a fraction? Multiplying by the reciprocal, okay? Multiplying by the reciprocal. So let's do that. If we multiply by the reciprocal on both sides, obviously the point of it is that on the left side, everything cancels, right? If we do it on the right side, we've got x plus 7 is in the numerator because we're multiplying by the reciprocal. And we've got 8x times 3x plus 4 in the denominator. Now, it doesn't look like anything happens, does it? What should we do to the 12x plus 16? Factor out of 4. It has a GCF of 4. Let's do that. And I'm just saving myself from having to write it again. I'm just going to write it above it. 4 times 3x plus 4 is equivalent to 12x plus 16. Now we can cancel something, right? We can cancel the 3x plus 4. And the 4 over the 8 leaves us with a 2 in the bottom. And I have a mess. So let's see here. We've got x plus 7 left in the numerator. And we have 2. And we have x left in the denominator. So our height is equal to x plus 7 over 2 times x. I would probably suggest trying to give yourself a little bit more space to work that one out. I was trying to cram it in and save some time there, but I'd spread it out a little bit. Okay? Questions? Number 7, perimeter. How do we find perimeter? Add up all the sides. Okay, add up all the sides. They only give us 2 sides though. They're the same size. Okay, this gets doubled and then this one gets doubled as well. So I'm not going to do number 7 because they have like denominators. I am going to do number 8 because they do not have like denominators. But let's do ourselves a favor and let's factor that length expression to start with. If we factor that out, we have a GCF of x in the numerator. And in the denominator, wouldn't that be x minus 4 times x minus 1? Because negative 4 times negative 1 is positive 4. Negative 4 plus negative 1 is negative 5. What can we do? We cancel the x minus 4s. So this length really is just x over x minus 1. So it looked like, to begin with, that we did not have like denominators, but actually we do. We just needed to simplify that expression. So we've got 6 over x minus 1, and I just wrote plus 1, plus x over x minus 1, plus 6 over x minus 1, plus x over x minus 1. Now, if you wanted to do 2 times the length plus 2 times the width, that's fine. Okay, this would be the same difference as saying 2 times 6 over x minus 1 is equal, or plus, not equal to, plus 2 times x over x minus 1. It's saying the same thing. Okay, if we just add the first line, 6 plus 6 is 12, x plus x is 2x, well, guess what? 2 times 6 is 12, 2 times x is 2x, and then you just add the results there. So we would get 2x plus 12 over x minus 1, which 2x plus 12 does factor, and if you really want to, you can factor it, but it's not going to cancel with the denominator, so you really don't have to. If you want to factor it, go for it, but you really don't need to. All right. Number 9, any questions so far? Okay, number 9, area of the trapezoid. Anybody remember the area formula for a trapezoid? Okay, 1/2 times b sub 1 plus b sub 2, so base 1 plus base 2 times the height. So this would be base 1, this would be base 2, and this would be our height. It technically doesn't matter which one's base 1 and base 2, but I usually go with the one on the bottom being base 1. It really doesn't matter. All right, so let's set up our problem here. We have 1/2 times the base there at the bottom plus the base on the top times the height. I'm going to do myself a favor and go ahead and factor that expression. X minus 7 times x plus 5. All right, negative 7 times 5 is negative 35. Negative 7 plus 5 is negative 2. All right, so what we need to do is we need to add these two expressions first before we multiply, because what does order of operations say? Parentheses, then exponents, then multiplication. So let's handle what's in our parentheses. Right now they don't have the same base. I can't do like I did with the last problem and factor and simplify anything. So I need to get the same base. The second expression needs the 2 times the x, so I have to multiply top and bottom by the 2. So now I have x plus 9 plus 2x plus 6, and that's all over 2x. And then I'm just copying down the rest of my problem. Let's see here. Combine like terms. We've got x plus 2x, which is 3x, and 9 plus 6 is 15. In the next step, I'm going to factor out the GCF there, a GCF of 3. 3 times x plus 5. I really don't need the parentheses anymore, but I just kept copying them. Okay, so we got rid of the addition. We took care of that. We combined like terms, so that part's gone. So now all we're doing is multiplying. Now that we're multiplying, we can start simplifying. We've got x plus 5 in the numerator and in the denominator. We have a GCF of x in the numerator and in the denominator. 2 times 2 is 4. And we can simplify that. 12 over 4 leaves us with a 3 in the numerator. So let's see here. We've got a 3 times another 3. So we have 9 in the numerator. We canceled out the 4. We've got x minus 7 in the denominator. So a little unexpected, I think, when you look at the expressions that we have for the individual components, and then when we find the area of the whole thing, it's as simplified as 9 over x minus 7. Okay. All right, I'm just going to set you up on number 10. I'm not going to do it completely. Write an expression to represent the surface area of the rectangular prism below. So surface area, we have to add up the area of all the faces, right? So let's see here. The face that we're looking at, the area of that would be 3 over 2x times 6 over x. How many of those faces do we have? 2. So I'm going to multiply that by 2. Plus, let's see here, we've got the face on the gray face here, the face on the end. We've got 2 of those, and it is x over 4 times, what's the height of that one? 3 over 2x. The same measurement from over there on the left side. So we've got 4 of the faces taken care of. We got 2 left, and that's the top and the bottom. So it has a width of 6 over x. And let's see here. If we look at it, whichever way you want to look at it, the height, or I don't know, however you want to identify it, it would be x over 4. Okay, so y'all are going to finish this one out. You need to simplify what's inside your parentheses, multiply them by 2. Now you only multiply in the numerator, okay, because these are all 2 over 1. It's just 2 times the numerator, 1 times the denominator. And then you may need to find some common denominators to be able to add them all together. Okay, so that's what I want you to do first.